Hello. Till now, many of the speakers have taught about different aspects of IoT. Now, I'm going to discuss what are the barriers to adopt this technology. Before going into the adoption barriers of the IoT, I would like to give the theory of adoption barriers to accept any technology. Let us see that. Introduction. The Internet of Things is a broad term used to describe devices, sensors, and everyday items which are not ordinarily considered to be computers but which have internet connectivity and computing capability. These objects include consumer goods, cars, trucks, industrial components, wearable health monitors, and collection of devices working together to create a concept such as smart cities and smart homes. These objects collect data from their surroundings, which are then transmitted and remotely analyzed to create new insights, deliver services, and control other items. It is projected that with there will be 100 billion connected IoT devices by 2025. The potential for tremendous growth, innovation, applications, and services is a testament to the open nature of Internet architecture and design, which does not place limit on the kind of device or service that can connect to it. There remain a significant challenges associated with the IoT, which must be addressed in order for technology to reach its full potential. These challenges include the issue of security, privacy, interoperability, and standards, as well as regulatory and right issues, and the readiness of emerging economies to adopt it. Now, what are the key considerations regarding IoT? First is, firstly, the concept of connecting objects and items to the internet is not new now. The first everyday item to be controlled over the internet emerged in the early 1990s and thus set the stage for today's Internet of Things. Secondly, how people and institutions interact with the internet in their personal, social, and economic life is changing. The Internet of Things may represent a shift in the how a user engage with and are impacted by the internet. For example, today's internet experience is largely characterized by user actively downloading and generating content through their computers and smartphones. But this might be about to change. Thirdly, many Internet of Things devices are designed to operate in the background. These devices send and receive data on a user's behalf with a little human intervention or even awareness. Others are designed to control objects and physical assets in the world, such as vehicles and buildings, or to monitor human behavior. And the final consideration it is projected that there will be 100 billion that already explained quoted before 100 billion connected IoT device by 2025. If the projection and trends about the IoT become reality, we would be wise to consider the implication of a world in which the most common interaction with the internet comes from the passive engagement with connected objects rather than active engagement with the content. For example, governments may want to ensure that their policy keep pace with the rapidly changing environment. Looking all these considerations, let us first of all understand the technology adoption theories. Technology adoption examines the individual, and the choice an individual makes to accept or reject a particular technology. The innovation adoption process as a type of decision making process which consists of a sequence of events, namely knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. Accordingly, adoption barrier can be considered as any factor that discourage or prevent end user from acceptance to actual use of innovations. I've just drawn a diagram to explain the above thing. As I told that innovation adoption process as a type of decision making process which consists of the sequence of events. The sequence of events are knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. Now, decision is again depends upon adoption and rejection. Okay, it can be a continued adoption or later adoption or discontinuous and continued rejection. Let us see this all in detail. Now, now let us come in within the context of IoT. Barrier for end user to adopt IoT technology can happen in all these 5 steps. Let us see. Knowledge. Knowledge occurs when a potential end user learn about the existence on the IoT and gains some understanding of how it functions. Example of adoption barrier in this stage are lack of knowledge about the IoT device and poor dissemination of information about the new IoT solutions. Accordingly, dissemination strategies can highly influence this phase. Okay, now the second aspect, that is persuasion. Persuasion occurs when a potential end user form a favorable or unfavorable attitude toward the IoT solution and is open to being persuaded that the IoT solution holds value. Example of adoption barrier in this stage are privacy and security concern, as well as when the end user are not interested in new technology at all. There are 5 attributes that can be used to assess the advantage and disadvantage of new innovation, namely relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, and finally the observability. These all can be the reasons of persuasion for any potential end user. Third, decision. Decisions occur when a potential end user undertake activities which lead to the adoption or rejection of IoT solution. Example of adoption barrier in this stage is lack of end user support. The decision in this phase can be optional innovation decisions, collective innovation decisions, and authority innovation decisions. Next is implementation. Implementation occurs when the IoT solution is actually put to use or practice. Complexity and functionality issues are examples of adoption barrier in the phase. Accordingly, if the end user in the previous phase had decided to adopt the innovation, then they engage in a number of activities to use the innovation in a limited basis. Confirmation. Confirmation occurs when an end user seeks support for the adoption decision in the form of the confirmation that the decision was a correct one, or the user may also reverse this previous decision if exposing to a conflict message about the IoT solution. Okay, so whether the decision taken was correct one, if it is not, so the user may change his or her decision. Example of adoption barrier in this stage is financial issue, that is expensiveness for an end user. So in this way, we can say that these are the decision making processes while adopting any new technology. That is knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. Now, let us see the adoption barriers. A number of adoption barriers need to be addressed in order for the Internet of Things potential benefit to the individual, society, and economy is to be fully realized are security, privacy, interoperability and standards, regulatory, legal and right issues, emerging economy and development issues. These are some of the adoption barriers reasons due to which the end user is not going to adopt IoT. Security. Internet of Things device present new and unique security challenges. A collaborative approach to IoT security will be needed to develop effective and appropriate solutions that are well suited to the scale and complexity of the issues. Device and service with a weak security are vulnerable to cyber attack and can expose user data to theft. Because an increasing number of IoT devices online increases the number of potential security vulnerability. This is a key IoT challenge to be addressed. Manufacturers are frequently presented with the economic and technical challenges when building and maintaining robust security features in IoT devices. Ensuring lifetime security in IoT products and services must be a fundamental priority to maintaining overall user trust in the technology. Users need to trust that IoT device and related data services are secure, especially as they become more pervasive and integrated into our daily lives. This is the first potential barrier for adopting an IoT services, security. Secondly comes the privacy. Let us see that. The ability to collect, analyze, and transform data drives much of the value of IoT devices and services. However, this data can be used to paint detailed and invasive profile of a user. This raises concern about a potential increase in surveillance and tracking. And the amount of sensitive data that can be collected by devices operating in our homes, businesses, and public environments. Sometimes these devices collect data about individuals without their knowledge or informed consent. IoT devices that collect data about people in one jurisdiction may transmit that data to another jurisdiction for data storage or processing. Challenges can arise if the data collected is deemed to be personal or sensitive and is subject to data protection laws in multiple jurisdictions. Therefore, enabling cross-border data flow that project privacy and promote a legal certainty for user and IoT service providers will be the key promoting the global growth of the IoT. Strategies need to be developed that promote transparency, fairness, and user choice in data collection and handling, enhance user privacy rights, and expectation across a range of preference, and foster innovation in the new technology and services. So these are some of the concerns of privacy. Now, the concern is interoperability and standards. Today, marketplace offer a variety of technical approaches to the IoT. Some companies see strategic advantage to developing proprietary ecosystems, while others are developing their own approaches because common technology do not yet exist. A wide range of companies, industry group, and researchers are working on approaches that create greater IoT interoperability and standards. So this is one of the another most important concern, that there is no standard for creating a particular IoT device. uniform standards are not been yet developed. The Internet Society believes that a greater interoperability and the use of generic, open, voluntary, and widely available standard as a technical building block for IoT devices and services will support greater use benefit, innovation, and economic opportunity. This is because interoperability among IoT device and data streaming can encourage innovation and provide efficiencies for device manufacturers and users, thereby increasing overall benefits and economic values. So you have to think about this interoperability and standards. Now, the last but not the least part, that is the regulatory, legal, and rights issue. The rapid rate of change in IoT technology could outpace the ability of associated policy, legal, and regulatory structure to adopt. For example, if someone is harmed as a result of an IoT device, action or inaction, who is responsible? The answer is often complicated, and in many instances, there is not enough case law to support a position. Okay, now IoT device also raise a potential human right concern regarding the pervasiveness of societal monitoring, the secondary uses of data by the government, and the access to data from the personal IoT device by a law enforcement or as a evidence in the legal action, among other challenging issues. Given the broad nature of IoT regulatory and policy challenges, a collaborative governance approach to policy development that relies on input and participation by a range of stakeholders is needed for the best outcomes. And finally, the emerging economy and development issues. The IoT hold significant promise for delivering a social and economic benefits to emerging and developing economies in areas such as sustainable agriculture, water quality and use, healthcare, industrialization, climate monitoring, and environmental management. However, developing regions present unique challenges related to the deployment, growth, implementation, and use of the technology. These challenges include the deployment of adequate internet and basic communication infrastructure in the rural and remote areas, incentives for investment, and local participation in the development of IoT solution. So these are the some of the potential adoption barriers which are affecting IoT. Okay, now this was just a glimpse of what are the adoption theories first of all, and what are the in the IoT scenario, what are the barriers due to which we are facing challenges to adopt this. So I think if I would consider some example in the second part of the presentation, two or three examples where we will see how these adoption barriers are affecting the particular scenario.